I'm John Batchelor. This is the John Batchelor Show. Gordon Chang continues with me, and the word for us right now is robust. Robust sales to end 2010 and to look into 2011 for Ford Motor Company, General Motors Company, and Toyota Motor Company. But right now we're joined by Ford, George Pippas, who is a U.S. sales analyst for Ford in North America, but he can speak generally to the situation around the world. Lou Ann Hammond of Driving the Nation also joins us. Lou, a very good evening to you as well. And George, welcome to the program. First of all, what is Ford doing right? These numbers are robust. Everybody is gleeful for you. What's the trick?
Well, I think that's a short question, but it's not so short an answer. I think everybody at Ford is focused on delivering great products to consumers. And I know that sounds like, well, why weren't you doing that all the time? But I mean, from time to time, you do lose focus, and I think the team, was very much in a survival mode for a period of 2006, 2007, and into 8, particularly as the Great Recession started. And the one thing I've noticed about Ford in all my years here is that Ford employees really pull together when we've got strong leadership, and I think that probably most people would agree that we've got exceptional leadership at Ford right now.
Lou, about Ford and its relationship with its dealerships, is that part of the answer, that they've maintained good relations because they didn't go through the crisis that other companies did?
I think that they have a good relationship with their Ford dealerships. I think more important than that is the fact that Bill Ford knew that he couldn't handle this alone, went out and really searched out the best guy, got Alan Mulally, who was from outside the industry, from Boeing, and brought him in. Alan Mulally is a 24/7 Ford only. He's not a board member for anyone else, and he does his job. And Bill Ford is the executive chairman. He comes in, and they work pretty much side by side, day by day, and they talk it over everything. And they really have turned this place around.
George, you talked about delivering great products, and that's certainly the case because I'm thinking of buying a car, and the first place we're going to is a Ford dealership. But, the one great product that you're not delivering is a Mercury. And I got to ask, why is the brand being dropped? I mean, I can understand if you're General Motors, you got 7 brands, you drop Oldsmobile, you drop Pontiac, but, Ford doesn't have 7 brands. And the question is, why is one of the big ones going?
Well, as a matter of fact, Gordon, I think that's a good comment, and we do get that from a very loyal Mercury owner body. But truth is, at one time we had 8 brands. One of the things that Alan did, and I think this in part comes from his background at Boeing, where you had a single brand name, is he knew that it was important to leverage the scale of the Ford Blue Oval. And so shortly after he got here, we sold Jaguar and Land Rover. We sold Volvo. We reduced our interest in Mazda to a pretty small minority interest at this point. And also we sold Aston Martin. So now we're left with 3 domestic brands, Ford, Mercury, and Lincoln. And I think that we really wanted to take Lincoln to a level that, was a serious luxury brand in the same breadth as Lexus and BMW and Mercedes, not do this part way. And the way we felt like we could do that is to divert resources that were being dedicated to Mercury's product development and the Mercury retailers, and then focus those resources on Lincoln, because Ford is a strong brand. Mercury was relatively weak, even though it contributed 0.7 of a point of market share for us last year, and losing them will be something that we're going to have to try and make up. It's not going to be easy, but in the long term, we felt like those resources could be better dedicated to Lincoln, Gordon. It's a great question, though.
George, quickly, you're facing the UAW renegotiation later on in the year. They're already talking about preliminary discussions. UAW wants givebacks after givebacks. Do we believe that Ford is in a good position to negotiate this time?
Well, I mean, Ford is in a much better place than it was, and I think one of the really strong parts, you mentioned our dealers, John, the relationship with our dealers. We also have a long-standing great relationship with the UAW partners, and I think a real good test of that relationship was the fact that we didn't go into bankruptcy, but even out of bankruptcy, before GM and Chrysler negotiated their agreements, Ford renegotiated a real a relationship and a new agreement with the UAW that allows us even to build small cars in the United States and small vehicles. And I think the UAW understands that if we're going to continue to bring jobs to North America, that our labor cost has to be, needs to be competitive. So I have no question at all that these guys are just unbelievable partners for us, and together we'll find a solution to keeping Ford on the track of growing.
Lou, is the UAW relationship with Ford, General Motors, is it in a better shape than it was several years ago? Or are they looking for solutions and not confrontation?
I think the UAW is not as in a good shape as they were that many years ago, and I think they're going to have to go outside of the big three or Detroit 3 and find new people. The question is are they ever going to hit the suppliers of all of the manufacturers, not just the manufacturers alone?
Well, let's ask George. George, we have 30 seconds. The suppliers, are you vulnerable to that?
Well, no, I really do think that the total value chain has to be considered, and if we're going to grow manufacturing in the United States, then we have to have competitive costs, throughout the value chain. Right. So there's no question that this represents a challenge, but I really do believe that we'll come up with a solution that works our goal is profitable growth for all, not just the people that work at the world headquarters, not just our dealers, but jobs and profitable growth for everyone that is associated with Ford.
George Pippas at Ford, a U.S. sales analyst for Ford Motor Company. Lou Ann Hammond of Driving the Nation, Gordon Chang of Forbes.com. I'm John Batchelor.